What's up, baby? This your boy Deontay Wilder, man. I wanna give a big shout out to all my fans at Chicken Talk.
In Minnesota, and Chicken Talk is the hottest thing going on for podcasts. Chicken Talk is the best ever. Chicken Talk, everybody knows about Chicken Talk anywhere around.
If you say shout out to Chicken Talk, let them know.
Shout out to Chicken Talk, man.
Yeah.
It's your boy Steph. I got Virgil here. So, hey, shout out to Chicken Talk on Twitter, man. Do your thing out there. Yeah, appreciate you, baby.
What's up? It's David Benavides here. I just want to give a shout out to Chicken Talk. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
MVO and Chicken Shop, how we doing? Hope all is well.
Greetings and salutations, brother Matt. So, guys, I'm going to take blame for the show starting late today. My dogs got out. They chased Lefty out of his house. So,
oh, man. A lot of stuff to talk about today.
Yeah.
A bunch of stuff.
This is like
the number one topic. What's the number one topic?
Come on, we know the number one topic. But before we get to the number one topic, we would be remiss if we didn't send out a RIP to boxing team Ron Lewis.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, he was cool.
That one, that's hit us like really, really hard. It was so unexpected, you know, and it didn't even dawn on me. Like, you know, they're saying, he was 54 years old. Like, I keep forgetting I'm 51. Dude's only 3 years older than me, and his wife found him dead on the couch. He died of a cardiac arrest. So it's just, I don't know, man. It's like a day later. I'm just still, that was a tough one for me. Yeah, he's thing I appreciated about him too. A lot of people on here, I think, it's just, especially in boxing Twitter, it's like he just wasn't like, you had to get his undivided attention. Otherwise, he wouldn't be. He wasn't bothered by the bullshit of the sport. He, especially navigating with all the stuff in the UK, he was able to sift through all that. So, I hold him in the same regard as I hold like Rob Tebbett and like the whole ID boxing crew. It's like, just, you know, cover the sport, no bullshit attached, man. It's just a straight up guy, man. That was a tough one.
Yeah, he was a real nice fella. My couple of interactions with him.
Deep history of the sport.
And he was an excellent writer.
He was. And he was our rock, man. Ever since the pandemic, he covered literally every single UK event. I mean, like the random MTK shows, like stuff that, you know, especially the cards he knew we didn't have access to in the US. He grabbed everything, man. No questions asked. Just, man. A true professional, you know.
Yep, and he would definitely be missed. Especially, you know, as a reader of boxing. See, I'm a frequent reader. You know, I always looked forward to his articles, like, you know, guys like him, guys like you, you know, and listen, 54 is young, you know.
Yeah.
It kind of makes you look at your own mortality, you know. It's like, damn.
Yep.
You know, but shout out to Ron and shout out to his family. You know, they're going through a tough time. And obviously, shout out to the staff at Boxing Scene.
Thank you.
Yeah, he was a good guy. Ron Lewis, in case y'all didn't know him, he's writing some pretty good articles. All right, Jake. So the biggest news of the week that Chicken Talk reached 1,000 subs on
come on.
on YouTube.
That's a big deal.
Let's give it up for that real quick. Second biggest news: Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Davis. Yep. The drama.
Yeah, it almost feels like Oscar De La Hoya detonated a bomb in boxing this week.
News that shouldn't be news. This should not be stuff we're talking about. This is, you know, we keep saying fights that get negotiated through the media don't get done. And, you know, this is just Oscar thriving on all this attention. You know, it's funny. I went back 3 months ago and I'm like, why are we still talking about this when everyone said it was a done deal? If you go back and read Oscar's tweet, though, and Joe Markowski, they were the ones who left that door open. Like Showtime, it was Steven Espinoza, Tank, their side, even Ryan to a degree, were all very optimistic that the fight would get done. But this is Oscar just creating drama, his own PR guy who I can't stand, whatever, I'm not even going to get into all that. But these guys are just creating a crisis where there shouldn't be one. And we don't need it, especially for what's probably the biggest fight in the sport right now. I mean, more people, I don't even see people really caring about, talking too much about Fury and Usyk. Like, once upon a time, like, you had a fight for the undisputed heavyweight championship. Like, that's all we're talking about. Everyone is talking about this fight.
Wait, real quick, Lefty. When you say Golden Boy's PR person, are you referring to Mike Coppinger?
No, not at all. No, not at all. It's not Golden Boy's PR person. It's Oscar's personal the guy that's involved in his career. He's supposed to be crisis management, but all he does is create crises, so he can, I guess, manage them. But
Okay, so why you think you think the fight will go through and he's just trying to stir up some hype for the fight or put some intention on him or what? What do you think?
I'm going to paraphrase this. Steven had a tweet earlier in the week, which I thought summed up the situation perfectly. It's like everyone knows where the situation is. And that once this gets done, the people who are creating all this drama are going to try to make themselves look like the heroes, the one who saved this fight, when that's not at all the case. They're the ones creating the unnecessary drama. So the very short answer is yes. I do believe the fight is going to die. I still remain skeptical we're going to see it April 15th, because once we get into next weekend, we're now at the exact same point when they told us in November, well, the fight can't happen January 7th because there's not enough of a run-up. So we're now at I think this is 10 weeks out. Next week could be 9 weeks out. That window is getting closer and closer. And, maybe Ray is right. Maybe they're going to spend $6 million on a Super Bowl commercial to announce this fight tomorrow. Absent that, though, I don't know, man. I'm less skeptical about the fight happening than getting the fight in April.
You're less skeptical. Okay, so I think it's going. I think it's got to be April or no. To be honest,
I hope it's not a situation where it's April 15th. I know they kept saying that's the date. That's the if it's April 15th, they're looking at Allegiant Stadium. I haven't really checked that schedule to see if the venue's available on any other days, but I don't know. Maybe this goes into the promotion of that fight. Maybe they don't need that run up. The 12-week run up they needed includes the 3 weeks of drama that we got, because technically we are still talking about the fight, but they need to get this fight done and then just put tickets on sale ASAP right after that. Yeah, it's stuff we shouldn't be talking about, man. It's ridiculous.
I agree.
Yeah. So looking at your list, I'm gonna go with somewhere between. I'm still it's gonna happen. So I guess it's low.
I put it at guarded a couple of days ago. By Tuesday, it's got to be announced by Tuesday.
So I do know Showtime is supposed to be announcing fights coming up. I don't know if it's going to be a full schedule, but we're going to get more dates coming in, post Super Bowl. I don't think that's holding it up. I think it'll get announced regardless, but
I think, well, I don't think somebody had mentioned that they usually release their schedule on Tuesdays. I forgot who it was that mentioned that.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
So that's why I say it either happens Tuesday or it doesn't happen at all. Did you see that interview someone did with Stephen Espinosa? I think it was Ring IQ.
What? Ring IQ, who got it from Blue Blood, who got it from what? No, what was it? Was it Ring IQ got it from Fred, who got it from Blue Blood, who got it from you, or did Fred?
Yeah, Blue Blood clearly said where he got it from in the video. I don't know how everybody how it ended up being Ring IQ.
Right. Yeah, I know he said that he got it from. I thought he said he got it from Blue Blood, if I'm not mistaken. But
Blue Blood clearly said.
Yeah, I don't know which one of them stole it from you, and then someone else stole it from them. But whatever, it just seemed like a lot of layers.
No, Blue is my boy, so he cool. But other than that, what else do we have this week? We had announcement of AJ officially announcing his training out of Dallas.
Yeah. You know what annoyed me about that too? People, this is why, I said I don't follow Benson. I don't like the way he covers the sport. But if you only go by the little clips that he posts on his Twitter feed, you think AJ is just this money, 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 and nothing else. That was a very cerebral press conference. And I also saw it too, where Eddie kept trying to, Eddie's the cheerleader in his life, and AJ doesn't want that. This is what makes Derek James the perfect fit in his career. Derek is going to grab AJ and mold him into the fighter that he needs to be. AJ was just brushing off all the cheerleading stuff that Eddie was. I get it. He's the promoter. He's hyping up the fight. But it was almost like they were saying two different things during the press conference.
Yeah, I think that's the same vibe that I got. That AJ is fed up with the BS.
Right. But even Eddie said, he can go to Starbucks, he can go to the movie. AJ's he said straight, he's I didn't do any of that shit. He's I'm there to train. He goes to the gym, he goes to whatever his Airbnb or his hotel or wherever he's staying at, and that's it. It's no BS. He's there to become a 3-time heavyweight champion. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I do like. I mean, I generally like where he's. I'm more of. I have a greater feeling about this union than I did about him and Robert Garcia. And I thought Robert Garcia did a good job. I thought AJ fought a good fight in the Usyk rematch up until
I
it
do
fell
too.
apart in the end. But I just feel like he and Derek are going to vibe a lot better.
I think Robert probably would have did a better job if AJ would have chosen to come over here to America, like he's chosen to come over
Right.
here
Yeah.
for Derek
I
James.
think with that fight in the aftermath, AJ realized way too late that he needs to eliminate a lot of the yes men that he surrounds himself with. I don't know if that's his own choice or if those people are just around and he tolerates it, but it seems like he finally got rid of a lot of the baggage. It probably needed to happen, 6 months ago, 7 months ago, but
Now, Jake, what kind of experience does Derek James have with heavyweights? Because
it
coaching
does.
heavyweights is different than coaching other weight classes.
I hear you. Derek's a fairly. I mean, he was a light heavyweight, when he fought. So, I look. I like the fact that he's not overcommitted either. Derek has always kept a very small stable. He's going to give AJ that undivided attention. I'm quite sure he's gonna find a way. He has 3 very different styles in the gym. If there's someone that can get the job done, I have the utmost faith in Derek doing
it. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
He said he ain't really left and explored the city with us because it's a lot.
Exactly.
It's a lot of nice women down here in Dallas.
Hey, he can go back to April 2nd, April 3rd, and go explore all that.
So Derek James will be essentially missing a week of Earl Spence training camp.
Correct. Yeah, unless Earl decides to go over there and train with them.
Yeah, that wouldn't be too bad.
And especially if his fight is happening in May, as being speculated. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What else do we have? Derek James, Jermaine Franklin. A lot of people are talking down on the fight. I like the fight. Maybe because Franklin is from Saginaw, Michigan, but I like.
I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't feel like he needs Jermaine Franklin to get to a Dillian White rematch. It's like, well, there's people who argue that Jermaine Franklin won that fight, and I thought it was a close fight. Could have gone either way. I don't see any shame in it, especially when you lost back-to-back fights. I don't what's wrong with fighting someone like Jermaine Franklin next.
Yeah, and plus he's active. Franklin is going to put up a better fight.
Yeah.
I think he had fought like once in 2 years, right before he fought White.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I could tell you what's wrong with having the Jermaine Franklin fight.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to pretend like he was going to fight Fury. That's what pisses me off. If they didn't go through the whole dog and pony show, yeah, we're ready. We'll fight Fury in December. Then I would be okay with it. But you can't go from Tyson Fury to Jermaine Franklin.
Well, he did. So yes, you can.
I guess so.
Not only that, but look, I don't know what happened with the Tyson Fury situation.
Look, everyone saw that for the BS that it was. I mean, he didn't have his training team intact at that point. So
yeah, it was too fast to go straight into a big fight like that.
No, that was like a now or never situation. It's like if the fight was going to happen, it was then. But then, like AJ's at the point of maybe cashing out if he goes through with the fight at that point.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's speaking of big title situations. You wrote an article on Tony Harrison, talking shit about Tim Tszyu. He basically said Tszyu's a tough fighter, but he's so basic.
Yeah, he said he's a guy that I just see, in the I think that was on Brian Cust on the Last Stand podcast. I forget if it was there. Yeah, it was there because he didn't say that during the press conference. He was a little bit more complimentary, but also letting him know, thank you for this payday because you put money in my pocket and I'm going to get that third fight with Jamel Charlo thanks to you. So, but yeah, I had a laugh when Tony's gift for gab is almost unmatched, man. So yeah, he said he's just some random dude that he would go fight in a park.
Your thoughts, Lefty, on your Detroit brother, Tony Harrison? Is he writing a check with his mouth that his ass can't cash in the ring?
Look, man, when Tony is on, it ain't nobody in boxing that can touch him. He's one of the nicest, sweetest boxers you'll find out there. When he's on, when that switch is flipped, Tony is sweet. He just got to keep it flipped the whole 12 rounds. And I think he can beat. I think he's going to beat Tszyu. I already put my money on him beating Tszyu.
Well, I put my money on him beating Tszyu also, but I don't want him to get flipped in the ring. You talking about flipping the switch on? He got a. I was very troubled by him saying that he was drinking and smoking hookah in between fights. Like that doesn't sound like who Tony Harrison should be, you know. So
That sound like a typical Detroit nigga. So I don't even know why you surprised.
cause I expect Tony Harrison to live the life of a monk. You know, he's supposed to be some master boxer dedicated to the sport. You know, maybe
Nigga, you ain't never been to the hookah lounge in
no,
Southfield. Them bad
no, I
bitches.
have not.
If you did, then you have a totally different
Yeah.
mind.
Uh, some
So,
other
Yeah.
stuff you wrote about Jake.
Sorry, before you
Emmanuel,
jump into that, Matt, hold on one second.
yeah,
I will say that, look, I know it sounds like hyperbole. I do believe that him watching Alicia become undisputed champion, I do believe that kicks him into an extra gear into this camp. So I don't think he's like cashed out and he's just a trainer. I don't think he's going to be content with just getting other people to the championship. I think he's going to want to match that energy.
exactly. He wants to smoke. He wants
Yep.
to get back with
Yeah,
Charlo.
and that's the
He
sexiest
might
fight.
get
I
it.
don't think people really care about a Charlo Zuffa. If it happens, it's great. We're going to watch it. But to me, like Charlo Harrison 3 is like that. That's the fight to me.
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
yeah. Some other stuff you wrote about Emmanuel Navarrete decided to vacate the 126-pound belt. He's going to stay at 130, and obviously Robeisy Ramirez and
Isaac
Isaac
Dogboe.
Dogboe. For some reason, why they the ones fighting for the vacant belt?
They are the two highest ranked contenders. They both won eliminators, and they get next.
What do you think about Navarrete's decision to stay at 130, even though he was getting mopped all around the ring?
He is definitely stuck in no man's land, but obviously the biggest payday out there for him is going to be the Oscar Valdez fight. So, yeah, it's win-win for Top Rank. They get to maybe cash him out. He's going to get a great payday. Valdez has a great shot at becoming a two-time 130-pound champ. I wanted to believe never. I even asked him straight up. I said, look, after the Eduardo Baez fight, you said you were done at 126 unless you can get a unification bout. And he said, no, I'm not done, whatever. And then we saw what happened at the scale. We pretty much knew he was done with featherweight then, so he just, pretty much made that official. So he's I don't think he can, without the proper discipline, I don't think he can safely make 126 anymore. And I definitely don't see him making any kind of noise at 130. Now, look, I didn't underplay Liam Wilson's chances going into that fight. I thought that was a good matchup for him. I'm not saying Liam Wilson is like a future 130-pound champion. I thought if he had a shot at winning a belt, that fight was going to be it.
Yeah. Well, what happened to what was the reason that the original fight against Oscar Valdez was canceled?
So they scheduled it last year. They announced it. I think they were a little ambitious in hoping that Valdez would be healed up from his prior injury by February, but then it got to the point Valdez, I guess he tried to work through it in training camp, and he told them, "Look, I'm just not where I need to be." So, credit to him for not dragging that situation on any longer than necessary. So he gave them enough notice, to find Liam Wilson and then let him know, hopefully he'll be ready. I don't know if they're going to fight straight away or if Navarrete gets like a voluntary defense and Valdez just fights whoever. But, the Top Rank definitely wants to make that fight, if not next, then at least, in the second half of this year. Yeah.
Well, we shall see.
That fight I love. I mean, I think it's a great opportunity for Valdez, and I think the style match. The Navarrete-Liam Wilson fight was a fantastic fight. So, we got that.
Yeah, it ended up better than what we thought it was going to be. Yeah.
Speaking of fights that hopefully end up way better than everything is going to be, MJ Akhmadaliev versus Kapalis, and then you have Ray Ford versus Magdaleno has been added to the Bam Rodriguez, Christian Gonzalez undercard. Well, first of all, are we sure MJ is going to fight?
Yes, he's stalled it out as long as he needed to. I guess he'll eventually find his way back to 122, but. Yeah, he was pretty thick for a while. I mean, he was so big, like people told me, like, look at MJ. I'm like, there's no way in hell that is MJ.
I thought that was Roberto Duran.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a pretty big boy. That was Tapales' team kind of sensed that the whole time. And they were just kind of stalling as long as possible for him to get, as close as he needs to go into training camp for a 122-pound fight. But that catches up to you eventually. So, I don't know if Tapales is going to be the man to exploit it, but I just don't know if MJ is going to be on borrowed time at 122.
How did the Ray Ford Magdaleno fight come about? That's
So
actually a pretty interesting matchup.
Yeah, Ray Ford's team wanted a step up for this fight. They were originally looking at Kiko Martinez, but he is fighting a separate. I think once he got stuck fighting an eliminator, I forget it's an eliminator or like the European title or whatever. Whatever the situation is, he couldn't get out of that. So then, yeah, Ray Ford's team, they just looked for another name. So there were several that were thrown around. They were a little surprised that Magdaleno accepted, but yeah, once Magdaleno broke away from Top Rank, he signed with Sam Kukowski. The fight wound up getting made. He wants a real fight, so I love that matchup. I like that whole card. I thought they do a very good job with Bam's undercards.
That's true. Man, I'm trying to find this dude because he asked me. He had been talking about Gary Russell. I want to make sure he's in here before Gary Antuanne before I start. Okay, I see him. Okay. So Puello versus
Rolly.
Rolly was made, and a lot of people are talking about why wasn't it Gary Antuanne Russell? And you mentioned something earlier this week on
Chicken Talk,
yeah, on one of these shows. Can you refresh the people?
Yeah, I can. And look, I'm not taking credit for this. If the guy who told me this wants to take credit for it, he can come out and say it. But this is not me. This is what another writer told me, that the opportunity was there for Gary Antuanne Russell to take the fight, that his team chose that for whatever reason they're going in a different direction. And it surprised me to hear that, and then to hear rumors that he was going to fight Sergey Lipinets, which I was told is not happening, but I've seen other people claim it will happen. So I guess we'll see about that. I just don't get why you would turn down a title shot to fight someone as potentially dangerous as Lipinets for an eliminator. So I don't know if there's something internally going on in Gary Antuanne Russell's career, but I'm hearing very conflicting reasons as to whether PBC wanted to slow him down or he's the one who wants to slow down his own career and take like a step back fight before getting back into the title mix. But
is a possible name Omar Juarez?
That's not a bad fight.
By L Dub.
Yeah.
Earlier this week, is a possible name Omar Juarez?
I'm going to be honest. I've not heard any names for who he could be fighting next. I just heard the two names that would. I remember when the Puello fight, and credit to Deuce for correcting us, because we all heard that Russell was supposed to fight Puello when the WBA even said that, the fight that they thought was going to happen was Puello Rolly, which is the fight that we got. But to go from that to just, I don't know, man. I just, like I said, the only two names I heard all along were either Puello or Lipinets, and neither one of them. Obviously, the Puello fight's not happening, and it sounds like the Lipinets fight won't happen next. So I personally like the Omar Juarez fight. I think, I'm not going to say it's necessarily a step back fight. I mean, I would pick Omar Juarez to beat Francis Barthélemy at this point. So, it's probably right at the level he's already at.
Okay. How did the Raleigh fight come about? How did he just come out of nowhere?
I wouldn't say it's out of nowhere. Like the Puello's team has been telling me that for they gave me the two names that were all. They kept saying it wasn't going to be Barroso. Barroso's team even heard that it was going to be Gary Antuanne Russell. That's the reason why they agreed to step down. But Puello's team is the one. Those are the two names that they kept saying all along. Like I kept asking about both of them. All I would get was winky face emojis, instead of an actual response. But he's been in the mix this whole time. So, and I've been saying Rolly's not going to be the type. He's not going to sacrifice himself for these other guys that he's not going to let anyone make a name off him. It's either going to be go big or just not fight at all.
What chance do you give him of actually beating Puello?
At the risk of Ari and Broadway Joel screaming at me, I don't think that's like a lopsided fight either way. To be honest, I think it's a very winnable fight for Rolly.
Okay.
I'm not down on. I mean, look, Rolly is just he has this very strange way of fighting, but he can punch.
Yeah, he can also get punched, as we seen with the sparring video that was released.
He can, but Puello is not a true knockout puncher by any stretch.
The dude that hit him wasn't either. He's like a 130-pounder wearing them big ass gloves.
I did find it strange.
No knockouts on his record.
That was pretty unique timing. I don't think it was intentional. It was a hell of a coincidence though, that the fight got leaked right around the time that sparring footage did.
Okay. Yeah, but whoever leaked it, is it possible that card goes on the undercard of Tank versus?
No, it's its own Showtime triple header.
I know, but I have to ask the question.
No, I get it.
So everybody can understand, because I saw a couple of people asking that possibly themselves.
It would make
So
sense, especially, Rolly, I think it was a month ago, he claimed he was the one that was going to be fighting Ryan Garcia in April. So, it would have made perfect sense to make that as the co-feature. But, yeah, as far as, Keith Theidig is the one who broke the story, and he said it's a Showtime triple header. So, as far as no nonsense guy, Keith is right there with, late Ron Lewis and not taking anyone's bullshit. So.
what else did you write?
He wrote.
Did you write a story based off my interview?
No, I did
No,
not.
come on. Nobody listened to that shit. He wrote
No, I
about.
did listen. I listened to it in full. I was a little surprised with some of the stuff Steven said on there because it kind of contradicted the news that was leaked out regarding the pay-per-view.
Like what?
Okay, so I replayed this 4 times just so I made sure I heard it correctly. So I know you asked him about the number, about it hitting, right, if it was going to hit 200 to 225, right? That was your question?
Now I said higher or lower, 250, 250.
Oh, okay.
The same way I asked Coach Calvin.
Right, because later in the interview, it was right around the 21-minute mark on what you posted on YouTube. I'm almost positive he said it's not quite at 200, or it's just under 200 or something to that effect. Yes. And people reported a month ago. We didn't. I don't know. To this day, I still don't know who wrote that story in Boxing Scene. I know it wasn't me and it wasn't Keith, but whoever wrote that story in Boxing Scene, they said it will wind up between 200 and 225. And that's the way you really should report pay-per-view figures. And Steven was very careful to word it that way because they're always based on trends. It could be at 195 now. It could eventually, the number's never going to drop. A month, 2 months from now, whatever those final cable buys, they're going to trickle in. It could wind up at 200,001. So the way he worded it is correct. I just found it curious that a month ago, people who claim to have inside sources on it all said that it already exceeded 200,000, which clearly didn't. I also thought it was interesting that he said this is going to be Tank's second highest pay-per-view, which means the Santa Cruz fight didn't do as well as advertised, and the Barrios fight didn't do as well as advertised. Yeah. So again, I've always said this on the show. Any writer who claims they have direct knowledge of pay-per-view sales is 100% full of shit.
What about Rick Glazer?
Now, hold up, wait. Now, right before that part, he said when I said under or over or under 250,000, he said a little bit under 250,000. Then he said almost at 200. I had took maybe I wasn't paying attention, but I thought we had gotten to the digital buys versus TV buys. Matter of fact, I'll just ask him straight up next time he come on after he release the schedule.
Yeah, no,
but honestly, that shit really ain't that important. I just wanted to put out there as. So somebody could say something. I didn't know it was going to turn into out of everything that that was said in that interview. That would be the main thing.
Right. Well, I thought it was an excellent question by you, and that's the man to ask because he's an executive at Showtime. They released their financial report, so he can't publicly say a number that's not accurate. So he gave you the actual answer that we needed to hear.
Yes.
So there you go.
I thought it would be more on the Crawford Spence situation.
Right. Yeah, and I'm going to appreciate this too. What he didn't say about, I like the way he handled, because you asked him about Ryan and about the Tank Ryan fight. He was kind of coy about it, being a dick about Glazer with whatever bullshit numbers with pay-per-view, and then the way Oscar's approached. But I like the way he said that, well, if this is the only problem that they're complaining about, then then that means the fight's going to get done. So he's right. So that puts the ball back in Golden Boy's court. It's well, if you said this is the only issue holding up the fight, well, here you go. We resolved it. So let's get the fight. So. His non-answers actually said a lot more than, most people's actual answers. That's, I appreciated that part of it.
Well, they came back and supposedly, have you been able to confirm that they sent it back over with the rematch clause?
There's a lot of stuff going back and forth. There were other issues that held up the fight to begin with. When, Oscar made this big declaration, I need the contract back by Martin Luther King Day or else the fight's off, whatever. They got the contract, but then they sent it back and they had their own changes to it, which, pushed things further along. So there's stuff that I'm not going to say the stuff, whatever Showtime is leaving out or Tank is leaving out, but the stuff that Oscar is leaving out. He's saying that, this is what we needed, but he's not saying, the terms that Ryan changed. I was told the financial terms changed, as far as the rematch goes.
I was told. Now, what did you hear? Now, that is what? Can you say publicly?
I mean, I want to, but it's not my story. I'm not reporting the story, so there's only so much I can reveal. Okay. But all I can say is Golden Boy is the one. They made it. Again, this is what I touched on in the beginning. They're the ones who made the changes. They're the ones who are creating this big drama around it, so they can look like the heroes once the fight finally gets done. The only mistake that was made is that in November they never should have said the fight was a done deal, unless you knew there wasn't going to be a rematch clause. If you were only talking about them two actually fighting, then the fight would be done. The fact that they're fucking bickering over a second fight that might not even happen, it's ridiculous to hold up the fight.
It's crazy. It's
Especially
crazy.
if they have agreed to all the terms for the fight. If you agree to the fight that's actually going to happen, just move forward with that. Like, this is what I always appreciate with Oscar De La Hoya and Felix Trinidad. That fight almost fell apart because Trinidad and Don King couldn't agree over how they were going to split their purse. The fight got done, and then the rematch fell apart because they couldn't agree to terms. That's the way you do business. And quite frankly, I'm glad we never got a second fight because the first fight sucked. You know, it was controversial. I mean, the only part where we needed a rematch because the outcome was controversial. But beyond that, I didn't need to see them fight ever again. And neither one of their careers suffered as a result.
True.
And the same thing, look, with Tank and Ryan. Like, if either one of them lose, I mean, maybe it's a little more damaging to Ryan, but Tank is going to come back.
If either one lose, this is a social media era. If either one of them lose, they're going to get exposed and they're going to be overrated. Okay. This is social media.
I get that, but how many of those people who are going to be slamming the fight actually pay for the fight versus steal the fight?
That's true.
Anyone who's going to put money in their pocket is they're going to pay for that, next fight regardless.
That is true.
Now, another fight you wrote about that's near and dear to my heart. Lefty, cover your ears for this one. Where do we stand with Larry Lara versus Gennady Golovkin?
I think this ends with Lara being upgraded to WBA champion. Here's something
is this 2013?
What's up? Yeah, exactly. 10-year time capsule. Here's the thing I found very curious. People like the Golovkin side is now spinning this as, oh, there's no interest in the Falcao fight. They were the ones who pursued it because he was supposed to fight Lara all along. He's the one who ran out of options with the WBA. He kept filing exceptions. He ran out. The WBA said, fight Lara or give up the belt. He's the one who ran to the IBF and said, can you please enforce the IBF mandatory? The IBF went to the WBA. They're the ones who worked that out. That was never Lara. Lara was never, he wants to fight Golovkin. He wants, to become champ. So that.
Jake just got a phone call.
I'm sorry.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Okay, yes, I hung up real quick. So yeah, he was the one who went to the IBF with that. And then to come back and say, oh, well, there's no interest. Like, well, that's your fault. And that's the lesson he has to learn. That, without the zone support, without matchroom support, nobody cares about 40-year-old Gennady Golovkin at this point.
No. I have a theory, a Golovkin theory. I'm going to run it by you real quick. I think Al Heyman cares. Now, here's what I think. Listen, Lefty, damn. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think Golovkin is going to get the Manny Pacquiao package. He's going to get a nice little 3-fight deal with PBC, and they are going to position him to fight a Jamal Charlo. It's going to start with the Lara fight. If he wins, he's going to go at Jamal Charlo to a star-making fight. And then if he gets by Charlo, I think that his retirement fight would be against Errol Spence Jr.
Okay. All right. So
now let me say this.
Usyk versus Fury.
Well, come on, Lefty. Let him.
I just saw a report for boxing saying that Usyk versus Fury is Fury said all talk.
I gotta drop down. I can't hear Lefty talking.
Oh my God, Lefty, watch out, the dog.
That sounds like a dog I can step on. I'm not running from that.
Yeah, right.
My dogs are 8 and 14 pounds. I think you can handle them. Sorry. I got something doing work on my house.
So you're not gonna let him cook with my Golovkin theory?
No, because it's Golovkin. It's 2023. We talking about Golovkin Lara. When were we begging for that fight? What was it? 2017, 16?
Listen, just let him cook, please. I think.
And then no, we begging for that like 2015, 14.
Yes.
And then Golovkin versus Charlo, that was 2018.
Yeah.
We are in
all right, now it's Golovkin versus Spence. Here we go, baby.
No, nobody cares about that fight. Nobody. I mean, is Golovkin even still a good win nowadays?
He's gonna get the Manny Pacquiao red carpet.
A decent win. I mean, there's only
maybe it'll be for Kazakhstan. They could do an all Kazakhstan fight in Kazakhstan.
Yep.
That would be a good fight for both of them.
All right, now what were you hearing about Fury and Usyk? You were mumbling through it.
I said that Fury said all talk, no offer.
I told you that fight wasn't happening. Yeah. Let's go Usyk versus Wilder. Stop running. stop running. But anyway, since you don't want to talk about Golovkin, some other stuff you wrote about Jessica McCaskill.
Hold up, he didn't address
Who
the Fury thing.
cares? I mean, all right.
Look, I'm exactly where I was last week with this. I don't know what to make of it. Like I said, ESPN, their spin was that Fury is saying it has to happen by this date, but Usyk's side is saying they already agreed to, like, if the fight's going to happen in Saudi Arabia, they already worked out their financial terms with them. They're happy with it. So if Usyk is in a place where he's ready to fight, I don't. The obvious only holdup is Fury, and if Fury is telling ESPN that he's on board, there's nothing that's standing in the way of that fight. So they could either announce it or I don't know. Like, again, I don't. It's weird that, like, in 2023, we really don't care about the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship, but I don't think anyone does.
No, we don't care, Lefty, and that I don't care because the reason I don't care is because we saw the two best heavyweights already fight, and Fury beat Wilder. We already saw the two best heavyweights.
Okay. So we should also want to see the 1 and 3 or the 1 and 4.
Whatever.
Usyk's definitely number 2.
Who is that talking?
That's someone with an opinion.
Lefty.
He thinks Usyk is number 2. It's an
This
opinion.
is not the question and answer portion of the show. Why you keep adding people?
I'm just saying it's an opinion.
Come on, man. It's not the question and answer portion. We was running smoothly, baby. Come on.
He thinks Usyk is number 2. There
all right. Well, when we get to that portion of the show,
personally, I think Wilder would beat him, but he has to beat him to become number 2.
When we get to that portion of the show, we'll get to that. Right now, we are in the white man paperwork portion of the show.
Yeah, and don't be bringing up no goddamn Jessica.
Well,
McCaskill.
I think it's very interesting.
What
Hold
we
on.
doing? You bringing up Triple G?
I'm bringing up stuff. I'm bringing up stuff that Jake wrote about. All right, Jake wrote about it. Okay.
Jessica McCaskill could walk in my house right now, and I would say thank you for my mail. Okay.
Hey, not too
What are
much.
we talking about?
She from St. Louis, boy.
Don't let Rick Ramos hear you say that about his little girlfriend.
No, I don't even care. Who is he?
Manager, trainer, boyfriend, extraordinary.
Fiance.
I don't even know who he is.
Okay. All right.
Can we talk about real quick, Lefty, please? This is very important. So McCaskill, Habazin won the purse bid at $210,000. I found it interesting that Matchroom only bid $91,000, even though their fighter Jessica McCaskill was involved. Is Matchroom starting to dwindle away from women's boxing?
I wouldn't say that. I do find it curious that they, that's yet another purse that they lost. Like, even, the sanctioned body people are even saying, it's like, damn, Matchroom just can't win a purse bid these days. But you got that, and then Michaela Mayer on record saying, that Matchroom can't even afford, a rematch with her and Alicia. That they want Top Rank to pay for. I forget the exact analogy that she used, but it's like, imagine a man delivering, your hot wife to another man just because you don't want to pay for her on Valentine's Day, something to that effect. But it is weird that these fights, I don't know, they're going all in for the Katie Amanda rematch, although it's not. Money again is an issue as far as like putting it at the venue that they want it.
I think Matchroom is getting out of women's boxing. In my opinion,
I wouldn't say they're getting out of women's boxing. I think they're just not going to spend far beyond market value for it. So, and quite frankly, and Boxer, if Boxer Gray is on here, nobody believes that Habazin's team is going to go through with this. That they're going to be able to pay the fight. So you have to deliver a date. You have to deliver a check.
Well, in Eddie's defense. Even bidding $1 is beyond market value for women's boxing.
Right.
Thank you.
And this is the risk you run too. If you don't if you go public and say, "Well, our contract ran out," and you're on a fight-by-fight basis with a promoter, they're not going to go. Demetrius Andrade saw that too when he was still with Matchroom. They put in a bid for that fight with Zach Parker. They got beat by Queensberry. When the fight came back around and Matchroom, Andrade wasn't involved with Matchroom, they didn't bid on the fight. So.
Okay. Yep, that's true.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Now, did anybody watch the
I did.
Talk betting show this week?
I made sure to watch it yesterday. Yes.
If anybody didn't catch it, I put the two bets up there at the top, and I'm gonna need a guess for next week. So if anybody know how to bet on boxing, let me know.
Yeah. I guess I thought your parlay was interesting. It sounded like Gray was even trying to talk you out of. I think who was it? The Shaqy Foster by knockout.
Who was that?
You.
No, he picked that. That's his parlay.
No, I know. Oh, I thought that you picked it and that he was saying that he didn't know about including that in the parlay. No? Am I wrong?
No, the fight he wasn't sure about was an Australian fight. It was an Australian fight at the end where he wasn't sure about including it. He wanted to do it separately from the ticket.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah, so it's up there at the top in case anybody want to check it out. Okay, now we can get to the Q&A portion.
So we're
Anybody
not going
have
to talk about
questions?
Taraji versus Bamba Gonzalez, April 8th in Tokyo.
Yeah, so they'll have a press conference set out on Monday. They're going to announce the full undercard. I think I forget the guy's name who Floyd Mayweather fought in exhibition. Tension. He's going to be. I almost positive he's going to be on that show because he just signed with Mr. Honda.
Okay. Where do we stand with Inoue and Fulton?
Okay, so if go back and watch Stephen Fulton's interview on The Last Stand, it surprised me that he said this, that he would actually prefer to fight during Ramadan. He feels like he's at his best at that time. He's like the complete opposite of everyone else who's saying that uses Ramadan, not as an excuse, but they're saying they don't feel like they're at full strength. He feels like his body's at the best place it needs to be. So he's fine if the fight happens in April.
Yeah, the fight is happening.
Oh, no, of course. I thought it was going to be May or June. I've heard speculation it could be April 30th, which that's a big win for ESPN. If we do get Fury Usyk, that means we get Fury Usyk on April 29th, and we get Fulton Inoue on April 30th.
Yeah, threat level is green on that fight.
Oh, that fight is 100% happening. It's just, like I said, it's just a matter of when. Yeah.
Now,
there's no turning.
Now, do we care about the return of Andrew Cancio? That was the last thing you wrote about.
Hold on, Matt. Jake, do you know what stadium they would have the fight in Japan at?
No, I don't. Like I said, I don't even know the date yet.
I don't think Jake even knows stadiums in Japan besides the Tokyo Dome.
I know plenty of stadiums.
Well, I know one thing. Every day they write a new article on the fight in Japan. So
yeah,
it is a big fight over there in Japan.
We going, so we trying to figure something out.
I know. Believe me, I've had a lot of people ask about that one. So.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, we get into question and answer part. Ray, you see I'm in the middle of the show. How can I put a parlay in the middle of the show? Jesus Christ. Come on, man. When the show is done, I'll do it for you. All right, anybody got questions, answer, you could pick request to speak. But we're going to go ahead with Marcy. Go ahead.
How you doing, Jake?
Hey, Marcy. What's going on?
I just had two quick ones. I see that Taylor and Lopez was being muted. Is that come out of the blue, or because obviously Cattrall and Taylor were obviously talking their shit at the Smith Eubank fight the other week? I was just wondering if what's happened there. Like,
I won't say the fight came out of the blue. I always said that was Top Rank's plan all along, was to get Teofimo Lopez to Josh Taylor. I thought the Taylor-Catterall rematch would have happened before then. It seems pretty clear at this point that Josh Taylor has no interest in. I don't know, man. He gave up a lot to get to the Catterall rematch, but I guess if they feel like the Teofimo fight is there to be made, they'll make it. The fight's not made yet. It was just it might as well be just a rumor at this point, but there is interest because you have to do something with Teofimo Lopez at this point. So, how long do you keep him waiting if he's not willing to fight, Regis, which is the fight he should be taking? Then maybe you just fast forward to Josh Taylor. I thought Catterall's reaction was telling. He feels like Josh Taylor just doesn't want to go through with the rematch at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't say it was out of the blue because that was the clear plan. I mean, Teofimo himself said that, ever since when he moved up to 140, that was the fight he wanted.
Yeah. And just one other one. Mm-hmm. Obviously, with Tank and Garcia, we obviously think that's going to happen. Have you heard of anything that's going to be on that undercard, or?
I just want to see the fight signed at this point.
Yeah.
I will say this. Yeah, let me leak this out. If Golden Boy gets their way, I am pretty certain William Zepeda will be on the undercard.
Oh, all right.
Yes.
What, maybe against the PBC guy, or?
I just heard that he will be on the undercard.
All right.
Yes.
Right,
I don't know if co-feature or just on there, but that's the reason why he's turning down fights.
All right. Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you.
This will be an influx of cash for both parties, I think. Yeah. This fight is too big to fail. I keep saying it. Too big to fail. Too big to fail. Mm-hmm. Too big to fail. All right, go ahead. Box nerd.
Hey there.
NRD.
This isn't really about a fight. Something I was really curious about is that what's the policy with questioning judges or officials? Because it feels like we never see interviews with judges after controversial fights.
Right. So in my experience, and it's having attended ABC seminars, is judges and referees are instructed to not speak to the media. And that if they're cornered and they have to speak to the media, their answers are to be limited to especially with judges with the 4 points of scoring criteria. So that's why we almost never hear from judges.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. I don't think we need to be harassing judges and referees after fights. You don't see it you don't see it in NBA. You don't see it in NFL, soccer, none of it. We don't need to be harassing judges and referees after fights.
Yeah. Now, curiously,
now the commission, you need to talk to them, but not the actual judges and referees.
Correct. And now they're going to give you the same stale answer. But weirdly, Dwayne Ford is one of the people who, I don't know if he still does it, but back in the day, he did conduct a lot of these ABC seminars. Yet he was the judge who went on the record after, I believe it was the first Tim Bradley-Manny Pacquiao fight. And he kind of contradicted his own instructions. So, and it was also one of the last fights he ever officiated.
Yeah. They need to have someone from the commission be a representative for the judges and the referee after every fight. It should be one. That's like not talking to the head coach after a football game.
Exactly. Yeah. And Mark Ratner, when he used to run shop at Nevada, he would get on there and he would always say that, he's going to talk to the officials, whatever. Like, especially if he thought a referee didn't do his job, he said he would review it and, they would, think about how to do things better the next time out. Like, not necessarily throwing the guy under the bus, but I always thought he handled those situations extremely well. A lot of commissioners just aren't willing to do that. Larry Hazard is another one who's not afraid to get on a mic.
Yes, he is afraid to get on the mic. I tried to get him on Chicken Talk. He asked me. He said he trying to get paid.
Well, that's what I'm saying. On TV, he's not afraid of TV time. I guess maybe that's the phrase I'm looking for.
I got you. And one quick question: are there any fights planned for San Diego anytime soon?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know the geography. How far is Long Beach from San Diego?
It's about like an hour or so drive.
Okay, well that's going to be your next fight.
You got to do miles in LA because an hour drive one day could be a 3-hour drive the next.
Right.
Oh yeah, no, LA drive is a nightmare from San Diego, unfortunately.
I got you. Well, I know Golden Boy's next show, not the one next weekend. The week after that is going to be in Long Beach. I haven't heard anything as far as San Diego, but I'm sure Golden Boy. I'm sure I'll have another show there. A Top Rank as well.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yep, you got it.
All right, we got some more questions. Josh Taylor versus Teofimo Lopez.
Mm-hmm.
So Josh Taylor will be fully healed, able to start camp?
I guess so.
So what happens with Catterall?
So here's the problem. The Catterall rematch, I don't know if it's contractually bound or what. Like the WBO never, to this day, I don't understand why. He was the mandatory going into the first fight. A lot of people thought he won the fight. They were fine with the rematch happening. I don't know why they never just left him as the mandatory. But because it's a voluntary fight, Josh Taylor is technical, unless he's contractually bound to that rematch, he's kind of free and clear to do whatever he wants.
So, because Catterall has accepted another fight, does that end the rematch clause? Because he accepted an interim fight?
I don't know if it ends the rematch clause or they actually owe him a fight because they were supposed to deliver this one. I don't have the relationship with boxers that I would like to, but it seems like that fight is just dead altogether. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind Catterall versus Regis.
Yeah,
since he's been.
I always said that's the fight that makes sense. That look, anyone who's willing to fight Regis, especially if it gets past the initial stage of negotiation, if there's a fight to be made, Regis should just grab it at this point, and that's a perfect fight. Catterall can go back to whatever Probellum becomes after they're sold, but.
Okay, hold on. You just broke
because I know it's
they're
been
getting
leaked out on
sold.
Twitter.
Probellum is getting sold. I know they just dissolved everything.
It hasn't happened yet. They've changed. They're on at least the fourth investor. There's I had a story written 3 weeks ago that I wanted to run. They said you can't run it yet because this investor's not in place. Yes, they are going to be sold. It's not even going to be close to what they were when they first launched less than 2 years ago. But yeah, they're in the process of being sold and being rebranded.
So when they're sold, that means the fighters that's on them are part of the package, or what?
Yes, yeah, but not. It's like hypothetically, if they have 75 fighters now, it's probably going to be whittled down to about 25 fighters.
And would they be sold to someone with an existing TV deal, or
No.
they'll be sold to another upset?
Look, the people I've heard who could buy them, none of them are even boxing people.
You said not even in boxing,
right? They're just investors that are going to buy out the company.
And do what?
Basically make it a fresh start. So,
with no network deal.
Maybe it leads the way to new network deals. But yeah, like I said, of the investors I've heard that are in place, none of them are in the sport, involved in the sport in any way.
Well, good luck to them.
Yes. So that's a story that I wanted to write 3 weeks ago that I couldn't, and it's already been leaking out. So it's at this point, it's not even an exclusive anymore. But we did hear it first on here, on the Jacob After Show for the past 3 weeks.
Yes. What else we have?
Yeah, but I will say this too. Look, if the Taylor-Teofimo Lopez fight does happen, Teofimo Lopez is number one in the WBO. That could become his mandatory defense, and probably his last fight at 140, to be honest.
Haney Lomachenko. I see the Bill Haney has gone radio silent, so that must be some progress.
We're going to get. See, I don't want to give it away. This is the problem. I mean, we do this show. There's other writers on here. I believe we're going to get.
Stop stealing our shit.
Right, and that's the problem. If I don't write a story and I say it on here, other people get the chance to report it before I do. But I do believe we're going to get a clear answer next week.
Hold on, somebody did mention that earlier this week in the DM that like you'll say something, then other people go chase the story, and then it get written.
Yeah, and then I get in trouble. Then Rick asks me, "Well, why the fuck don't we have this unboxing scene? Why are you going telling other people when we don't have a story on it?" So, yeah.
I'm telling you, they wouldn't let you write the Probellum story. Shit, it's got to get out some type of way. All right.
But yeah, I do believe we're going to get.
He went radio silence, so that's a good thing that he went radio silence. So that
I think we're going to get a clearer picture of that next week. I have my reasons for believing that. I think by Wednesday, I have a story half written on that as well. By Wednesday, we should know whether or not that fight will happen May 20th and if it'll happen in Las Vegas.
So we have that on also threat level blue guarded. Threat level blue is a good thing.
As far as the fight happening?
Yes, as far as the fight happening.
I would put it yellow. I would put it closer to that greenish color that you have.
Okay. What color do you get when you make blue and green? Purple? I was never good at mixing colors in school. All right. Fourth class officer, you got a question?
Yeah, I just have a quick question about the upcoming Pascal Eifert fight. Is that I know the IBF does 2 eliminators to set up the opponent, the actual mandatory. Is that the first eliminator, or does the winner of that fight get better beef as when possible?
I'm almost positive that is a final eliminator because it originally began as Pascal and Joshua Buatsi. And the winner of that was supposed to become the IBF mandatory. So Eifert was the next highest ranked contender, which means it will be a final eliminator.
Okay.
Yeah.
That answer your question?
That's good. I hope we can get to see 40-year-old Jean Pascal against 38-year-old Better Beef in Canada sometime.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, that's a big fight in Montreal. Right? You got a big fight in Quebec.
I guess nobody's standing tall with me on my prediction that he might not get past Callum Smith.
I would think so. All right, Boxing Nerd, go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, to answer your question, that's a huge fight in Montreal. Yes, sorry.
Oh, what's the update on the Wilder-Ruiz fight? What's going on with that?
Deontay Wilder said he wants to fight Francis Ngannou. So there's your update. Didn't he tell Trill that earlier this week?
Yeah.
So there you go.
Damn, he just doesn't want the. That's.
I've been saying this.
Joking.
Yeah, I am joking on that. But Deontay, he doesn't care about fighting in a limit. If Deontay Wilder wants another title shot, he's going to get another title shot. He's anyone's outside of Joshua. He's any heavyweight's biggest payday. So I don't think he necessarily cares if he fights Andy Ruiz. If he has to fight, I mean, if he does fight him, he will. But
yeah, we gonna knock out Ruiz, and then we coming for the winner of Fury Usyk.
Right.
Notice I say we because I'm part of the bomb squad. In case y'all didn't know, Matt is not part of the bomb squad because he's caught his flight late, so his membership was removed.
What about Ray?
He said what?
I said, what about Ray?
He said, what about who?
Ray Jackson. Oh,
no, he was never part of Bomb Squad. He's all Earl Spence, which is no problem with that. But then he gonna say that Derrick James gonna get AJ to beat Wilder, so he's like, no, he can never get into the Bomb Squad with statements like that. All right. Any other questions? Anybody else got questions? This is your time. All this boxing going on in boxing news, no question. Well, what's your predictions tonight, Jake? Starting with the co-main and then the main event.
I think Barrios. I think Barrios is going to win. That's not a question. I think he'll get a mid to late knockout over Giovanni Santiago. I think it'll be a one-sided fight. I thought Broner made Santiago look a lot better than he really is. I think the real version of Santiago is what we saw against Gary Antuanne Russell, and I think Barrios should be able to replicate that effort. I will say Barrios does have a way of making his fights a little bit harder than that's necessarily need to be, but I think he's going to eventually run through Santiago. And then as for the main event, I've always rocked with Shock. I think this is his time. Someone else brought this up too, that like so many people are actually picking on Shocky that it almost feels like we are overlooking Ray Vargas.
That line has changed dramatically.
It sure has. And I hardly know anyone who is picking Ray Vargas outright. I mean, for a guy who opened up as big a favorite as he is, I don't know anyone who's rocking with him. But this is the most animated I've ever seen him going into a fight. Like even like last week during the they've had whatever like video like the virtual press conferences. Like he usually is very boring interview, and it's kind of hit or miss what he get with him in the ring. But his head is all the way into this one. So, and they have their little.
Gray brought up a great point that he's been knocked down his last two fights at lower weights. So I think there's a good chance, but he's got up off the canvas and won. But I think there's a good chance Shock he'll stay on that canvas and Shock hit him.
Yeah, maybe there was once upon a time where I thought Ray Vargas was that guy that could just run through divisions, but like to that point, he hasn't really. He was just kind of there at featherweight. He is moving on to his third weight division. He's the taller guy, but Shock is clearly, the physically bigger fighter. I think he's the better fighter. This is a great style matchup. It could be like a very high-speed chess match. It could be a horrible clash of styles, but I do think Shock is going to I think he's going to shine. I'm going to pick him by decision. I was kind of surprised to see the knockout picks. I get that Ray Vargas has been down, but I think Shock, maybe he will knock him down, but I think he's going to outclass him and score a decision.
Yeah. All right, A-side.
Hey, what's going on, Jake?
What's up, Mason?
Hey, so first of all, I'm picking Ray Vargas tonight. So I hope it goes well for my parlay that I put together. So I'm just putting that there. And then obviously I came in late. Did you already talk about Buatsi and what it's looking like for his next fight?
No, we did not. It does look like he will get the Bivol fight. So Bivol needs to fight somebody. So that fight, I do believe, will happen.
Do you have maybe a timeline on that, or?
My best guess would be May, June.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna say maybe June, just because I heard about another fight that could happen on that date. So I don't know if that's gonna be part of the show. But I'm gonna say somewhere between mid May and early June.
Cool. Thanks, Jake. Appreciate you.
You got it. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, Marshall.
Just another quick one, Jake. Is there anything on Sonny Edwards or?
No, I've not heard any movement on that whole flyweight situation. And eventually they're going to run into a situation like if these guys don't figure out who they're going to fight, they're going to have to, they're already trying to push Martinez and Williams Arroyo, talking about fights that, snake-bitten fights that never die. But they're still trying to push that one. Sonny Edwards, the good news for him is he doesn't have a mandatory. Christopher Rosales and Felix Alvarado are still in negotiations. That deadline's been extended twice already. So he doesn't have a mandatory until that fight actually takes place. So he's free and clear to fight whoever he wants. So the onus is going to be on Martinez, Eddie Reynoso, and Eddie Hearn to deliver that fight.
All right, cheers, mate.
Possibly on the Canelo versus Ryder undercard.
I was going to say once the venue
announced earlier the two locations.
Yeah, I saw it. Well, once the location gets figured out, maybe then the undercard gets it. That was always the plan all along. So, but I haven't gotten any indication from Sonny that the fight is anywhere near done though. So.
And the location is possibly Middle East or Mexico.
Correct. I think I can't remember who tweeted it out. I can't take credit for it. But that supposedly on Mexican radio, they were talking about it could happen in Mexico City or even Guadalajara. But it sounds like a very expensive fight to, I don't know if Canelo would take a pay cut or if they're just that confident in building a big enough gate there. But that's an expensive fight to land in Mexico. Really, any fight involving Canelo. But
what's like the ticket cost in Mexico for a fight?
I don't know. I mean, you can't charge Vegas prices though in Mexico for a fight.
Yeah, I know. Well, Ryder ain't no Vegas fight. I know Munguia sold out a stadium there.
Yeah, he did. He's a very big draw. But again, you don't charge big prices for a Jaime Munguia fight.
Yeah.
Sorry for jumping in. With Canelo, are they in Mexico? Are they stadiums or are they arenas? they?
The
Bull
places I heard
fights.
were arenas.
All right.
No, I'm sorry, stadiums. Stadiums.
All right.
Where they fight bulls, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Gritty.
What up, though?
Hey,
What's up, Jake?
What's up?
Hey, any news on the opponent for Big Baby Anderson?
No, not yet.
You know who it possibly could be?
No, I thought like when they did the Guido Vianello Johnny Rice fight that the winner was going to get Big Baby, but Johnny Rice won that fight and he's not ready to take that fight next.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Too quick of a turn. Wait, hold on. He's fighting in April, January, February. March,
Yeah, April.
Yeah, I think on April 8th card, I believe.
Yes.
All right. Charles, go ahead. Almighty Hitman, go ahead.
What's going on, Jay? What's going on, Left? Any word on who Munguia could be fighting next?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Where are you located, Hitman?
I'm in the car.
No, what state? Connecticut.
No,
right?
I'm in Massachusetts.
Go down to your local 265 Plumbers Union. Stick your finger out, spin around, and whichever guy you land
Lefty,
on.
you want to know something crazy? I was working with a plumber that said he boxes on the side the other day.
Oh man,
that's what he's fighting next.
There you
and
go.
while you're there, you can pick out Torres' opponent too. All right, go ahead, Boxing Nerd.
Hey, I was just gonna ask: does Regis have a bad relationship with PBC? Because I feel like he doesn't have something with Top Rank, clearly. So why not try to pursue guys like on that side, like Gary Antoine or something?
So the one thing that's baffled me is that Lipinets is the one fighter who's been willing. Well, his side says that they're willing to fight Regis. So I don't know why that fight hasn't been pursued. I know that Regis' situation is all these guys keep saying they want to fight him, and then it gets to negotiations, and then it just seems to stop dead. Like even Arnold Barbosa, who, if he was self-managed, I firmly believe absolutely wants to fight Regis Prograis. But once you get the managers and promoters involved, that's when these fights keep dying. I do think if the fight was offered to Lipinets, he would take it. I don't think there's a bad relationship with PBC. That's, unless they have something, like I said, unless we do, in fact, get Gary Antoine Russell and Sergey Lipinets, I don't see why, that fight wouldn't be offered to him.
Gotcha. So, and I know it kind of traced back with Top Rank and his promoter. What was the, does that guy not have a good relationship with them?
Who, Richard Schaefer you talking about?
Yeah.
Schaefer and, Bob, they absolutely they've hated each other for 20 years.
Gotcha. Does Richard Schaefer...
And that's look, all this stuff, I've said this on several shows too. Top Rank claiming they don't want to do business with Probellum because of whatever ties they may or may not have to Kinahan is all bullshit. This is Top Rank sticking into Richard Schaefer. They're going to do that any chance they get.
Probellum is being so.
Well, and that's why I teased it in past shows. Like, what happens when Richard Schaefer has the fighters on his own and Top Rank is still turning these guys down? Then, what's the excuse then?
True. Ari, go ahead.
Hey, what's up, Jake? How you doing? How you guys doing?
Hey, what's up?
Jake, I just want to say, you're sleeping on Puello's boxing abilities, man. I just want to say that. Also, do we know, is Carlos Adames versus Lubin a thing, or is he fighting Shasiskin? Like, any news on him?
No and no.
Okay.
No, I thought he was going to fight the Polish guy. That fight is out. He's definitely not fighting Lubin, though.
Okay. All right.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
No, if you got something else, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No. I just. Any news on Charlo? On Jamal Charlo?
He is coming back. I don't know what weight. It could be a middleweight title. It could be 168.
He's back in the gym or something like that, or he's back in the gym and whatever. So
yeah, he will be back before sometime in the first half of the year.
Got it. Thank you,
That's
Jake.
crazy. 168.
Think they might
All
strip
right,
him?
it's no, they're not gonna strip him.
That's up. Look, yes, the WBC should jump in and do something about it, but we know they won't. So then this is, Adames' problem is that he's represented by the same people who represent Charlo. So, that's going to be up to them to, if they want to force the WBC's hand, they can. Otherwise, they could just put Adames, money in Adames' pocket, which is probably what they're going to do.
When they start complaining about these sanctioning organizations, listen, they're gonna do what these promoters want them to do.
Right.
So when they say, "Well, the sanctioned organization holding up the fight," no, that's what the promoter wants.
Yeah.
So,
And then,
all right, go ahead.
Hold on. And you did cut off Matt earlier, but if Adamas is part of this package that they would want to deliver to Gennady Golovkin, then that could factor into it as well. So,
I thought he said.
Yeah, let Carlos
I
Adames
thought he said
send
Charlo.
Golovkin into retirement. I'd love to see that.
I thought he said Charlo versus Adames.
No, he did. He said Golovkin versus Lara. And then maybe, Charlo. But, again, I don't know. Charlo, it'll be 2 years by the time he gets back in the ring. So who knows if he's coming back at 160. And then what do you do with Demetrius Andrade?
He should fight the winner of he should either fight Morrell or the winner of Plant versus
Yeah, I would say Morrell. I would love that fight.
Yeah, that'd be a good fight. All right, A-Side.
Hey, Jake, I was just I forgot the guy name, but I know he reports on like a lot of the Russian fighters, and I just seen that Jalalov was going back to the amateurs. Is that true?
I don't know if he's going back to the amateurs all the way. I do know he wants to compete in 2024 Paris. Was that the report you read, or that he's just going?
Yeah. He was just saying like he was going back to the Olympic or try to compete again in the amateurs or Olympics again or something like that. And I didn't know if that was true or not.
He does want to. Yeah, he does want to go for a second gold medal. I think it's ridiculous. I think it was ridiculous. He was allowed to fight in Tokyo.
Lou was on here the other day. Who was on here when he said that? When Lou said,
how old is
I wasn't really listening.
already?
I was halfway listening, but he mentioned something about the Jalalov fight. Was you on
Yeah,
here
he
already?
like 30.
Anybody that was on here speak, because I can't remember what he said about a Jalalov. He said something about a Jalalov fight. I was halfway listening. I was cooking.
Oh no! Here we go. Yeah, he's fighting an amateur tournament later this month. Yep, Jalal Akhmedov.
Hated it had to be him.
Yeah. I don't know what to make of that. I mean, this is a guy who some people were arguing was the prospect of the year last year, which I disagree with. But
I think he's actually going to the World Amateur Championships as well later on in the year.
Yeah,
he's a good boxer. There's no need for him to fight an amateur. He's a good boxer. I don't understand why he wants these amateur fights so bad.
Yeah.
Is the money better for him in the amateurs or what?
I guess.
Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah.
Because he's not a bad boxer. I think he's better than Herkovich.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
He should be making his way into the...
I mean, the only thing I could see is that, okay, if there is a chance that boxing is eliminated after 2024, and even if it makes it to Paris 2024, that's his last chance of winning a gold medal. But he's already won one, And again, he's at a point in his career where moving towards title contention should be next. Not, going back. That's going backwards. But, I don't know.
I agree. I 100% agree.
Yeah. I'd rather see a rematch with third fight, I guess, with Richard Torres in the pros.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Me too. Because he's not a bad fighter. I don't
know.
Maybe he's getting more money. He gets more money in amateur than he does.
There has to be some sort of side deal that he's getting.
You got it from that Bakumov?
Yeah.
I think that's his name. Yeah.
Yeah, Jalal Akhmedov or something like that.
Yeah. Who is he? Just a writer?
Yeah, just a guy. Yeah, right from Uzbekistan.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He's a great source. I mean, he has a lot of breaking news out of there.
Yeah, he does. I think I follow him.
Yep. Any
more questions from the panel? I guess not. So, Jake, what you want to leave us with this week?
I'm just glad we finally got fights back tonight. Showtime. So it's the first of 2 dates this month, both of them with a championship fight in the main event, which is, they've been long overdue for. A lot of good news should be coming out next week, and we should have even more to talk about next week. So.
Yeah. And also next week, Wood versus Lara. I'm taking Wood.
Yeah.
So make sure y'all we'll be covering that on the boxing betting show.
Yeah.
I might have Abram Abramovich next week. I got to see if his schedule's clear. If not, I got to find somebody else to have on a boxing show with me.
Yeah.
So I haven't done a parlay yet, but are you guys really that confident in Foster? Because I haven't personally seen a lot of him. That's why I'm skeptical of picking him. You guys are confident in him?
I mean, if you're not confident, then just leave him out.
No. What I'm saying is,
or find a, if
no,
you
but
listen to the whole show,
makes a
it
huge.
wasn't just O'Shaquie Foster by KO. There's other little scenarios that you could put in there.
No, because I was doing a parlay and I was gonna do Ray Vargas by decision, but I just, obviously the O'Shaquie Foster win gives a lot of value, but I just don't know enough about O'Shaquie Foster. That's all.
Yeah. Well, there's different ways you could do it. Go whichever way you feel. I would probably go the over under. What was the over under? 8.5.
Yeah, it was 8.5 rounds. No, you said Vargas,
Yeah,
O'Shaquie. It was 10. It was 10 and a
Yeah.
half.
That's 10.5. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was 10.5. It was
8.5 was Barrios.
I would probably go with.
Correct.
If you feel Vargas by decision, then just go with the over. I wouldn't necessarily because Foster might beat him by decision, so I would go with the over.
It's a very smart play, Lefty.
Personally.
That is why you host a boxing show that takes bets.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I appreciate it,
But
guys.
one thing, Lefty. Please don't tag me in shit for motherfuckers that you know I don't follow. Respectfully. Thank you.
Bro.
Okay.
To that point, I'm going to say two things, Lefty. Well, one, Bet365 now has Ray Vargas at minus 138 and O'Shaquie Foster's down to plus 100. So he's essentially even money. That's how much confidence people have in that fight.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Do not tag me and Dan Rayfield on the same post ever again, please.
Did I do that?
Yes, you did on your Chicken Talk. Look, I get it that you want to get the Chicken Talk interview out there. Tag me with Cop. There's plenty of other writers. Don't put me and Dan on the same post, please.
Dan untagged himself from that post.
Of course he did. And that is the only reason he unblocked you was because when on those opportunities when Espinoza jumps on Chicken Talk, he wants to be able to listen and then claim the news for himself.
But the only thing Dan Redfield knows is how to rewrite a PR statement and snacks. That's it.
Y'all are hilarious, man.
So the over-under, Bet365 has Vargas Foster, excuse me. Oh, no, Foster Vargas. I had that right. Minus 450 at 10.5, going over 10.5 rounds. Plus 300 if you believe Shaq is going to knock him out.
There you go.
Inside.
And didn't it open at like Vargas minus 300?
It sure did, yeah.
Yep. Because I think I got Shaq Foster like a plus 3 something, maybe even a plus 4 something weeks ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm playing for the parlay. I'm playing for the cash out.
Yeah.
So, Esso, did you have something before we end this?
Yeah, I appreciate you guys for setting this up week to week. I had a 2-part question. The first part is if there's an update on Erickson Lubin and Brian Castano for their next fight. And my second part is more of just, I guess, would be your opinion. With the Plant Benavidez undercard, it looks like there's like a lot of sink or swim matchups going on. And does the maybe lack of a Fox deal have to do with? Does that have to do with the matchmaking on?
Has to do with a Showtime pay-per-view
card. Well, I'm saying that either Showtime doesn't have enough cards for all the talent PBC has, and if that has anything to do with why they are already throwing, Colbert and Ryo together. If that is, basically, am I overthinking it, or if
you're definitely overthinking it and over talking it. Listen,
the
first part of the question, Jake, Brian Castano, any update on him?
It's fine. I'm long overdue to catch up with Lubin. That's going to be my first phone call when the show ends. I have heard speculation about that fight possibly happening. I think it's a great 2-way fight. I don't have it from him.
And do you have any insight on what went into the matchups on the undercard for Benavidez versus Plant?
Yeah, so I think PBC never got enough credit for this. That from its inception, way back in 2015, when they had the toe-to-toe Tuesday shows and all these other prospect-based shows, they've always matched like their non-champions very aggressively. So these sink or swim fights do not surprise me. They've always done that. So it's just something they never got credit for. So I give credit. Like I said, Ryo, they offered him the fight with Colbert. He said 100%. He didn't care who he fought. that he wants to prove the De Los Santos fight was a fluke, which it may not be. I'm more surprised that Colbert accepted that fight, that he's moving up to 135, and that he wants to fight Ryder, personally. A lot of people see it the other way. They're surprised Ryder took the fight. So, no, it doesn't surprise me that there are. I get it. Yeah, Showtime is not picking up the fights that we used to get on like FS1 and on these Fox undercards, but there's still all PBC fights at the end of the day. I would like to see, once whatever happens with this whole Paramount Plus, merge, once they consolidate all these platforms, I do want to see more, something more than Showbox, where PBC does get that prospect based show. They do need that at least.
Yeah. Also, if anybody, Virgil Ortiz follows anybody or anybody got a connection to him, could y'all please try to contact him? I've been trying to get him on the show.
J-Ro, that's for you,
The official channels I've gone through has not been seeming to work, so we don't have to do this guerrilla style and just go directly to the man. And you could tag him. You could tag the interview with Stanley.
Let's ask Jack Alter.
Yeah, that's probably why you don't fuck with nobody on Twitter, because Jack Alter crazy ass. What's up, Ty?
Yo, Jake, what's up with Boots and J-Rock? When they coming back?
Boots, I don't have an update. J-Rock, I kind of do. I don't have a first half of the year. Is the best update I can give on J-Rock.
And Jake, what's up with the Andre injury?
Didn't J-Rock just
when
fight?
he coming back, Jake?
I don't know on Andrade. I was told after the fight that he suffered an injury. I don't know how true it is, but if it's true, then that could put him on the fence even longer. I'm gonna be honest. After that fight, whenever Demetrius Andrade fights again, is whenever.
Oh, Jake, come on, not you too.
Look, unless he's fighting Morrell next or the winner of Benavidez Plant, I really don't care.
He's a realist. You got to be realist with these guys, man.
Yeah.
Y'all be making up these scenarios in your head that these guys aren't who they are.
Yeah.
Just follow the pattern. Follow the patterns of their whole career, and that whatever they've been doing their whole career, that's what they're going to continue to do.
Right. Ray Diggs mentioned this on Chicken Talk the other day too. I'll give him credit for this. Is that I'm paraphrasing here, but we've become so conditioned to just accepting what we're given. It's like, these are just I don't care, man. I don't care about Andrade fighting anyone other than a relevant fighter. So if he's not fighting one of those two guys, then whatever. He's just undercard filler to me at this point.
Have you heard Magia versus L-Dub also mentioned this? Magia versus what's the Irish dude? The Irish dude that Andrade fought.
Oh, Jason Quigley?
Yeah, Quigley, yeah.
That would be right up his alley. So.
Yeah, that's what I did hear. I did hear him versus the Irish dude.
Yeah, it's almost certain he's not. I mean, I don't think he's fighting Berlanga next. I don't know if he's ever going to fight Berlanga, to be honest. But.
Which way are you leaning towards Berlanga signing? Golden Boy, Matchroom, or PBC?
I've always felt like that. It just seems like when Keith Connolly's involved, Matchroom seems like the best fit. But if the budget is there for Matchroom still, then I do believe they will sign him.
One fight and then straight into a Canelo fight?
I don't know if they can get him there that quickly. But, Canelo would have to give up some belts. Well, I mean, granted, he could do whatever he wants, but I would think he would have to start giving up belts if he's going to fight someone like Berlanga anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the thing about Berlanga. You got to really be careful because with the matchmaking in order to get him to that point.
Yeah, and I'm not saying, look, Keith Connolly is an expert in getting his fighters as much money as he can, but I'm not saying this is the reason. But you're going to want to get him paid, because if he does fight someone good enough, there is a chance he is going to get beat. Now, granted, I think people kind of downplay Berlanga. I think he's better than he's given credit for, but just because the knockout streak ended and he's looked ordinary, I think everyone's just kind of given up on him. But
yeah, what about do you think Roberto Diaz will Matchroom looking for a U.S. matchmaker?
That's a good. I mean, again, he's another one with a great relationship. Whatever. I'd like to see him land with PBC. I don't know.
Tell the truth, Jake. He needs to brush up on his real estate license. That's all. Come on, man.
I think he's a better fit at PBC than anywhere else, personally. But again, I don't know if there's a position.
But because Matchroom doesn't have, I think he's a better fit at Matchroom.
Well, they have a matchmaker.
A U.S. matchmaker?
Yeah, Kevin Rooney.
He's not any good, obviously.
I think he's a better fit.
I disagree.
I don't know. I know he's a good, very good matchmaker. One of the best in the game. Go ahead, Four Corners.
Hey, thank you. Just a quick question. So, do you think basically Matchroom's going to build around Raymond Ford and Joe Pacheco as their next top U.S. stars? It sounds like looks like they're in a good step up, and I think those are like the best guys from when they signed them a couple years ago. You think they're the two prominent ones outside of Bam to get a big push?
I would definitely
Okay,
say
hold
Pacheco.
on, wait. Before you answer that, let me plug A-Side Truth. He did an interview with Diego Pacheco. You can check it out on his YouTube channel if you go there and click his link on his bio. He just did an interview with Diego Pacheco. You can check that out. But go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Ace, I mentioned this too the other day. This is two Emily clients in a row who we actually interviewed them back to back because I interviewed Pacheco right after him. But yes, I do believe Diego Pacheco is definitely a big star. He was, one of those guys. Matchroom signed both of them right at the, before their pro debuts. So, they're very, very big on Diego Pacheco. Ray Ford, he could have. I don't know. I love the fact that he's taking this fight. That he wants these big step ups. He had the very close fight with Edwin Vasquez last year that a lot of people thought he lost. There's even people within Matchroom who thought he lost that fight, and yet he still wants to keep moving forward. Like he didn't ask for a step back. So. The potential is there for him to become a star if he's marketed properly. I just think Diego Pacheco has the greater upside.
I agree. Plus he's in a higher weight class.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's surrounded by just some fantastic talent, especially being he gives David Benavidez all sorts of work. Benavidez can't sing his praises high enough.
Yep. Okay. So. I think that's about it. I want to plug my betting boxing show once again.
Yep.
Every Friday on YouTube at either 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. whenever the guests have time. Also, we'll be starting another show, which is tomorrow, called Overreaction Sunday, where we overreact to the previous nights of boxing. Like boxing fans love to
Another
overreact
show.
Yes.
Oh my God.
That show only
The
goes
Chicken
on
Talk
for
Network, man.
And then me and Emily, the PR from David Benavidez, the sweetest woman in boxing, have a true crime pod.
Oh my God. Are
start.
you
So if
kidding me?
anybody is a big true crime fan like me and Emily are, make sure that y'all tune in. We're going to run it across TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. It's going to be a great show. We're just getting the branding together right now.
Let me ask you a question about that,
We'll let y'all
Lefty.
know when.
Who is going to host your true crime podcast after you are a victim of true crime when I bludgeon you to death by having all these goddamn shows?
I'm also bringing back the Boxing the Business series. Probably have my first. That would be YouTube only, the Boxing the Business series. So anybody that's interested in getting into boxing, other than being a promoter or a fighter, like if you want to be a matchmaker, if you want to be a photographer, if you want to be a manager, I will be interviewing people to give you the way to get into boxing. Or a media person. It's called The Business of Boxing. I'm gonna bring that back on YouTube because Matt hated it so much here on Twitter, so I'm gonna just take it straight to YouTube. Okay.
Anything else you want to plug, Lefty? You don't want to plug Coast to Coast?
I'm gonna also do another
Coast
show
to
called.
Coast. Don't forget about Coast to Coast.
No, I changed that. I'm gonna do a show called The Boxing Countdown with Cougars. It's gonna be Karma down there. It's gonna be.
Wait, how old is
Nika.
Karma?
It's late 30s. It's
Yeah,
gonna
she
be
a cougar.
Tracy. I'm just bullshitting. But I guess that's
Tracy
about it.
count as
Anything
a
else?
cougar?
Anybody got anything else? Yes,
I was
Tracy's
gonna
a
count
cougar.
Tracy as a saber-toothed tiger. I'm kidding, Tracy. I love you, Tracy.
Anyway,
don't forget to plug my PayPal. The child support is not going away. Please, my PayPal link is in my bio. Please send me money. Thank you.
Anyway, all right. Y'all take it easy.
On that note, thanks, guys.
Peace. Fights.
All right.